What's up, Agents? Wolf here. Welcome to another Division 2 video. I'm going to showcase the best damage setup right now, and it has changed for the first time in a long time because of the new exotic mask called the Tinkerer. The DPS meta has now shifted, and I'm happy to showcase this to you guys. So make sure you go and farm the Tinkerer. If you want to know how to get the Tinkerer mask, link will be in the description. Go and watch my video on exactly how to get it. There are some bugs in the mission that you're required to do to get it. So make sure you go and watch the full video and get some information that will hopefully help you guys. So please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as many of you guys are not even subscribed. So I'm kind of going to give you guys my overview of what I believe to be the best in slot for damage right now because of the Tinkerer mask. Then do a direct comparison to the previous meta, which was more or less like Coyote's Cheska Striker. That's kind of what I'm going to go with here. It's also going to depend on your situation, what difficulty you play in, and also just your playstyle. So just keep that in mind. So let's take a look. So this is the new Tinkerer mask. It says Alpha Bridge on it. It's very cool. The talent is called Abridged. It's from the Division 1 Alpha Bridge. Basically how this works is if you have 2 shotguns or 2 SMGs or 2 ARs, as long as they're the same type, not named or exotic, you have 2 different weapon talents that don't involve swapping. You can make use of the secondary talent. So my FAMAS is my primary, my Police M4 is my secondary. You can't use your Police M4, your secondary. You have to use your primary, and then you get the use of the secondary talent. Like, for example, you can use Streamline and Optimist, which is very good and adds a lot of extra damage. Now, directly comparing it to Coyotes, I will showcase that. It does beat Coyotes, but it's going to be very close, especially considering it won't work with the Lexington, as I've tested. Lexington is coming on the 19th of August. I'm sad to say to you guys that you're probably not even going to be using it, but it is still going to be good with Coyotes. It depends on you. So, Abridged. It's a red with crit chance, crit damage, very nice. If your primary and secondary weapons are not exotic or named and of the same type, the weapon's secondary talent will also be applied to the primary weapon. Does not apply if the primary or secondary weapon talent includes weapon swapping. Does not apply if the primary and secondary weapon talent are the same. So, for example, you can't have Streamline on both weapons. You can't have an SMG with an AR. And you can't, as you can see here, it's working. If you swap to your secondary, it goes red. You can't have it on the secondary using the secondary gun. You have to use your primary. So let's take a quick look at the setup I'm going to be using and then give you guys a kind of like a comparison and my thoughts on what's the best after testing. So with the mask that we've got now, in the past it would be Coyotes. You can also use Striker's Chest with a Cheska holster. It's kind of, you can alternate depending on your situation if you can actually stack the chest piece for Striker. But in this case, this is kind of like the overall best damage build in the game. So it was previously Coyotes and Cheska, or maybe Grupo, depending on what gun you're using, what mods it has. Like if it has extra crit chance, you don't need the Cheska. Grupo with Obliterate. This talent works off of crit, we get extra weapon damage. Every single mod is going to be critical hit damage. Your crit chance needs to be at least 54%, minus 57% with this setup. So I've made use of the Striker's backpack also. The attributes, crit chance, crit damage, depends on, as long as you can get your crit chance above 54%, that's okay. Same as the mods, extended mag, crit chance mods on my gun. So when it comes to talents, this is the whole point. So let's do a direct comparison with the Tinkerer to the Coyotes mask up close, because the Coyotes mask will give more damage up close. That's the max damage you'll get from Coyotes within a couple of meters. We'll get that extra critical hit damage within 15 meters, 25%. So both masks can have 12% crit damage, 12% crit damage. I'm going to be making use of what I believe to be the best in slot right now for solo and in a group, but this is definitely situational and you can swap these. I'll give you my thoughts after we do the test. So Streamline is very good without using a shield. Playing in a group, this is perfect. Extra 42% weapon damage. Amazing. Police M4 with Killer. Playing solo, it's just a must. Even in a group, you will get kills on anything you can kill, and it's so much crit damage, especially considering the god modifiers. There are other options, and I will give those shortly. Let's take a look. I've only got 15 expertise. FAMAS is my primary. Let's get it stacked up. And we're just going to kind of simply go off of how much damage you're doing per crit. Because it's not going to rely on the Streamline talent, because I'm going to make use of that with the Coyotes, because obviously that would increase my non-crits and my crits, if you guys understand what I'm saying. So we're going to just go off of crits. So let's take a look. So this is currently what we're getting. 746,000. Let's get the talent procced. There we go. Killer is procced. as you guys can see, 974k and 325k. That's a lot of damage. Let's swap it straight to coyotes. Now we are only going to be making use of streamline. As you can see, it's gone back to normal and it's like 100k damage less up close. Now keep in mind, from further away, further than 15 meters, we're going to be doing less damage. So this beats coyotes, which is amazing. That is a lot more damage. And considering, remember, I'm using the streamline, which is quite good. Now, you could probably argue and say, well, why not use killer, considering we were going off of that? So let's do that quickly. Doesn't cost me too much. I'm just going to simply reroll this to killer. And we'll do a direct test. Let's get everything stacked up. Killer is now procced. So that's 901k and 276. So as you guys can see, we do way more damage making use of the Tinkerer mask, which is definitely going to replace your Coyote's mask. But it is up to you. From what I've seen, on paper, it can be good, but in practice, it depends on you as a player, whether you want to use Lexington or you want to use Coyotes for certain crit chance reasons. So that is on you. But let's take a look now at what I believe to be probably one of the better combinations, depending on your situation. Just give my thoughts. So streamline and killer is just too strong. One thing I will say is after testing, I think if you want to use a shield, because with streamline you can't use a shield. So what I'd used was Optimist, especially playing solo. At the end of my mag, I can make use of that increased damage. The problem with Optimist is if you're killing enemies too fast, and depending on how you reload, you won't make the full use of the end of the magazine. So Optimist and Killer playing solo, if you want to use a shield, is what I would go for. There are other options, such as, you can go for Measure. That actually is quite good with strikers. You can also go for Flatline if you want to use Technician, but I wouldn't do that because I don't want to use Linked Laser Pointer, and you can't use a Linked Laser with the FAMAS. Also, you could go for Ranger, but are you going to be at range all the time? Fast Hands is probably my second favorite. Or my third favorite, should I say. Fast Hands is great. Reload speed is a lot faster, but the gun doesn't take that long to reload, so it depends on you. Close and personal, not really going to work. Strained is more for slow firing weapons. Preservation can also be nice for our ability, but we've got Gunner. So for me, Streamline Killer is probably what I'm going to use. And if I need to use a shield, I would use Optimist and Killer. That's what I'm going to go for. Because, and let me say something as well. If you guys are playing in a group and you feel like you're not making use of Killer, it is just too good. But what you can do is in a group, if you are struggling, Streamline and Optimist, because the enemies are going to be super tanky, so you'll make use of the end of your magazine. Optimist and Streamline. That's what I'd go for. So Streamline your primary, Optimist your secondary, or vice versa. Use the FAMAS, because the FAMAS is probably arguably the best AR in the game. So I'm glad I could give you guys a comparison. Like I said, it is dependent on you, and I'm not saying it's better than Coyotes, because there are some utility elements of using Coyotes, like making use of extra crit chance, therefore having your crit damage higher. So you can look at it in that way, but definitely does do more damage. I've done all the spreadsheets and the calculations. It's not so much more damage if you factor in on paper what the Coyotes mask can accomplish. But for me, it's definitely going to replace the meta. So like I said before, I do believe Streamline is going to be just amazing with it, or, Optimist Killer. But if you want to play in a group, then go for Optimist and Streamline. That's going to be probably better. But alternate those talents and you'll be good to go. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Now, there are other weapons that are going to be very powerful, and I will be making separate builds. I just wanted to showcase this. Like when you look at shotguns, you can make use of Brazen and Pummel, which is very good, especially for playing solo. But I want to keep that for more solo builds. I just wanted to post this as kind of like the best AR damage build and how it's changed now. So just keep in mind, guys, like I said, it really just depends on you. What's the best on paper may not be better for you in practice. You may get more utility and usage from running something that you feel more comfortable with. A lot of people will say to you, probably if you join a group, they'll say, why aren't you using Streamline and Killer? Why are you using Optimist and Killer? Because I want to use a shield, I can tank more, therefore I can shoot more, do more damage. So it's really up to you. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments down below, what are you going to use with the new AR damage setup? Are you going to use what I'm using? Or just give me your ideas, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video. Peace out.